Well,
There you
guys, I'm not globing the spam or worldwide belts this week.
Good deal.
I watched that video several times, and I do apologize to each and every one of you guys.
I don't think anybody thought anything of it. I just happened to catch it because it's my group. So
It's not the same if you're not going to globe the spam.
that's
I
right.
was
Yeah.
I was just caught in the moment. It was one of those
Yeah.
things where it felt right, but I guess it was wrong.
It was funny.
That's what she said. Sorry,
it's
it was
gonna be one
right
of those-
there. It was
It's
right
gonna be one of those nights. It's gonna be one of those nights. I can tell.
You know,
Jeez.
uh,
It's hard when you're talking about something serious not to laugh. Yeah.
I thought Gianni wasn't going to be on till later.
Yeah.
that looked like me when I ate my ex mother-in-law's food.
Oh boy, you got to be real careful how you say that.
How do you know you don't like it if you've never even tried it? Okay, I'll try it, but I don't like it.
I got some belts I want to show. Oh, sorry. 4 of them.
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
How's that,
Broccoli.
how's that broccoli taste?
Well, I can tell you guys, it's been a heck of a week.
Yeah, I can
good
imagine.
Yeah,
no, been
man.
crazy for you. The hurricane. How
With
close
the
did it come to you?
hurricane, oh man, I talk about anxiety out the roof. You guys know I have major anxiety and I control it.
Was there any property damage, Richard?
Not in my area, thank
Okay.
God.
So everything yours is good, right?
Yeah, everything in my area was pretty good. It was just scary, man. Tornadoes
Yeah.
were popping up. I was telling Mark I had a tornado was like 15 minutes away from me.
EF2, wasn't it?
Touchdown. Yeah.
Man.
And I didn't put the shutters on the house. Usually I'm way ahead of it. You know what I mean?
Who
But
joined us?
Well, you're
the
doing a
wife-
lot of work on your place, aren't you, Richard, right now?
Oh,
yeah.
there's Lane.
Yeah.
So the
There's
wife
Lane.
was
Hello,
like,
Lane.
don't
Hey,
put 'em
guys,
up
what's
yet.
up?
What's up,
Andy.
Lane?
Richard,
How you
what's
doing,
up,
buddy?
brother?
How you
Our guest
doing?
is backstage, and we'll bring him on after the intro.
Okay.
After I bring you guys on, I'll bring him on.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Hanging in
We'll
there. How
do
you doing,
we'll do
Lane?
belt of the week after the guest is done. So don't
Yeah, so-
spoil it. Don't spoil it. So
Yeah, so the wife was like, no, I don't think you need to put them up. I said, she told me she seen in the way I was acting, my anxiety level was up. I get real
Yeah.
antsy. She's like, next
It's
time I'll
hurricane,
let
after all.
just put them up. Because what I do is when I put them up, they stay up until after, hurricane season.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, just thank God everything's okay for you, Richard.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, very thankful. Okay,
I had a
we'll start-
couple family and
Countdown
friends too that had damage and stuff like that. Some people that I know that can't even get home right now.
Yeah. I saw some areas were just parts of streets were just leveled.
Yeah.
Gone.
I just realized Platinum lives in Florida. I saw where he
Oh, does
posted
he?
he has no electricity.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't he in Punta? I think it was.
I don't know where he lives. No, he lives in Opelika.
That's right. Yeah. He's down south.
Yeah, Richard Simpson's down there somewhere too.
I just
think
have
he's
no
in
Opelika is.
Tampa.
Oh, he's in Tampa.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow.
Did it go south of Tampa? Crossed over that way, just south there.
I think so. I know it hit Kissimmee too.
Oh, Platinum's watching.
They said the tail of this thing stretched all the way out to where it is now in the ocean, still into Florida.
Wow.
Okay.
And then you said there's tornadoes too. So talk about
Oh
double
yeah,
whammy.
like every
Wow.
5 to 15 minutes there was tornadoes coming up.
Wow.
Scary.
Well, years ago we didn't get the alerts on the cell phones. Now we get them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that helps. That helps. Plus, you get radar on your phones too.
Yeah, so we
And
were
then the
ready
air
to,
horn, and then the air horn goes off. You can't miss that.
yeah, we were ready to run in the closet. So I had my family go into the bedroom where I have shutters on the back windows. You know what I mean? We were getting
30
ready to
seconds, guys.
hunker down, but thank God,
Yeah.
30 seconds, guys. It's gonna be a good show.
it's going to
I mean,
be a
we're good.
really good show.
Once our guest is finished, we'll just wing it like we usually do.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
We wing it.
we should grow feathers the way we
wing it
wing
with the
things.
best of them.
Yeah, exactly. 5 seconds, guys.
Okay.
Spanning the Globe starts now. And good evening, everybody. It is Thursday night. We're here. We're live. We are spanning the globe. And I want to welcome everybody here. And I'm going to bring on my host right now because we want to do something real quick before we start off with the show. First, I'm going to bring in from what once was the Sunshine State of Florida, but it's kind of been under siege lately, Mr. Richard Ward, a.k.a. the Warden.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I want
And
to
from
take this.
Cincinnati, brought you on late there. I don't know what happened. Click the button. Mr. Andy Bolger, welcome.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
And joining us from the state of Louisiana, Mr. Lane Crooks. Welcome,
Good
Lane.
evening.
We have a special guest tonight, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to remind everybody that this show is sponsored by Mark Leather Championship Belt Leathering and by Unique Spirit Championship Belts. So be sure you check him out. He does great work, reasonable prices. He's very, very receptive to suggestions and does great custom work. So I want to get that out of the way. I want to take a moment, and Richard came up with this idea. We want to just express our prayers and thoughts for the people in Florida that have been affected by the hurricane. Richard just barely skirted by. There's people down in South Florida. I know Platinum, Mark Liberty's down there. I know they're okay, thank goodness. Richard Simpson, a number of people that either watch this show or are affiliated with the hobby that have been affected by this hurricane. And it's not over yet. There's people along the East Coast, South Carolina, North Carolina. Kevin, our other admin, he's in the path of the storm, and it's going to be hurricane level again. So we want to throw out our prayers and thoughts for everybody that either were affected or are in the path of the storm. So just wanted to get that out of the way and let you know we're thinking
my
about
heart
you.
goes out to everybody.
Yeah. God bless
Everybody
everybody
affected.
involved.
Exactly. So thankful. I know Platinum's watching. I saw him go comment earlier, so he's in South Florida. So I'm glad he's watching, and Platinum, I hope you didn't sustain much damage, if any at all, but I'm glad you're okay. That's the main thing. I'm going to put comments up while I introduce our guest. And some of you may know who this is. He goes live with Man Up and Cedric in the Jagu John group. And I brought him on. He hit me up the other day about coming on because he has an interesting story to tell. He's got some experience in the wrestling business, and I'm talking about Mr. Joey Gray.
What's up?
Welcome, Joey.
Hey, welcome, Joey.
Welcome.
Hey, nice to meet you. Well, hey, so I heard you say you were from Louisiana. What area in Louisiana are you from?
Shreveport, Bossier,
Okay.
up in northwest corner.
Okay. All right. Spent a lot of time in the New Orleans area. in Houma and Chalmette and all those little crappy towns down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Platinum?
Oh, okay. That's where I got Opalaka. Okay. So, Joey, you said you spent 10 years in the wrestling business. Why don't you tell us some about that, and we'll come up with some questions along the way.
I came in kind of awkwardly to the wrestling business. It was I was in high school at the towards the tail end of 1997. I was supposed to be a senior, and I was at a football game, and I lived in a small town in North Mississippi, kind of in the Memphis, Tennessee area. And funny enough, I met this young lady whose father apparently was a wrestling announcer, and they had started this television show that if you want to find on Facebook, there's a Facebook page dedicated to it called the Original SGWF which stood for the South's Greatest Wrestling Fans. And it was basically a conglomerate show where a bunch of wrestling companies would send footage in. We would splice it together and then put commentary over the top, which bled into, once I got to work for them, long story short, I quit high school, went on the road doing this stuff, finished high school through a correspondence course. This doesn't sound sketchy at all. But then went on the road immediately, sometimes working 3-4 nights a week in a lot of independent wrestling. And originally we were just taking people's footage to the point, and it grew to the point where we were being invited by the wrestling companies to come in and tape it ourselves and cut commentary over the top right there. So I started up traveling as just like being one of the cameramen and doing stuff like that. So I went into the wrestling business through the television end of it. And that at the time, I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Bill Behrens, who was producer, longtime television syndicator, syndicated the USWA out of Memphis nationally on syndicated television. And he's also the founder of NWA Wildside out of Cornelia, Georgia, that famously trained AJ Styles and about a couple dozen other famous wrestlers that all came out of that promotion. Like half the cast of TNA when it first started up was out of there.
Nice.
But he's the one that got us going with television, and then we ended up being talked in somehow to starting an NWA member territory in Mississippi, which is what Bill was heavily involved in. He was the vice president of the NWA at the time, and he got us hooked into that, which I can't say was a great thing, but it was. That's how. But it ended up getting me. Once I started actually becoming a commentator in wrestling, a lot of exposure quick. I was in Nashville working for Burt Prentice at NWA Worldwide. I went to Cornelia and worked for Wildside. If you know anything about it, there was NWA member territories in the late 90s, just everywhere you turn your eyes to. There was one everywhere. Got me up to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, everywhere like that.
Sweet. What wrestling did you watch growing up? What promotions?
Mostly a combination of Jim Crockett and Memphis. That's where I saw WWF, but it wasn't, it definitely didn't catch my eye the way the traditional type of Southern wrestling did. That was my type of wrestling I liked right there.
I love
WWF is more metropolitan.
Yeah.
Style. So.
That and in the 80s, especially, before the late 80s, most of the shows were just these dry job matches that, and apparently that's what people in the North liked.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just Jesse Ventura flexing and hitting a clothesline and pinning a guy.
Well, you didn't have grandma in the stands either, cussing the wrestlers out like you did in the South.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I learned when I worked the Indies.
I bet you did.
You don't get that experience when you go to a small show until you go, especially to one of these small shows with no guardrails where beer is being sold cheap, and guys are taking their shirts off trying to fight wrestlers.
The live wrestling events are just something you'll never forget.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to a live indie event a week from Saturday. So
nice.
Yeah,
so Bill and Bert ended up getting me when I was 19 years old, my first chance to be backstage at WCW Monday Nitro and Thunder, which if back in that time around 98, 99, they were basically the feeder indies to WCW. They were feeding everything. All the guys that were coming out of the power plant were going to Nashville to work there for Burt Prentice, and Burt Prentice had very unprofessional relationships with a lot of the talents that were coming up through there, which I probably won't get too far into unless you want to know. But
oh boy!
But but that's where guys like Mike Rapata and Shane Helms, the Hurricane, a lot of these guys were coming up through there at the time, and a lot of them got jobs in WCW going through Burt Prentice there, and that's at first. So at first, I, like everybody else that ever gets into the wrestling business, thought eventually, like, because especially since I'm 6'5", I thought, wow, I've got to be a professional wrestler. And turned out quick, I wasn't, I never was really athletic. I was a basketball player because I was tall. So I learned quick I did not have talent for wrestling. I got hurt a lot trying to learn to bump and stuff like that, and just learned quick like that wasn't going to work for me. Although what?
No, that's okay.
Oh.
That's the thing we do on the
He's our friend in
show.
South
Yeah.
Florida.
Gotcha. No, but I did get the chance to do like the R&B security crap that you get paid a couple $100 for going out and taking somebody's boot and taking a bump. That's about it.
Oh, you get the black shirt that says security on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the R&B security shirt. I still have that somewhere. I have some of the worst memorabilia from wrestling, to include that and the original like TNA security shirts and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like in a plastic and a cardboard shoebox full of plastic hotel keys that I can't tell you where it is. I think it may be still at I think it's in my uncle's house actually in Mississippi, but
Quite the collection.
it's ridiculous. And for the first couple of years I didn't even get the bed. I was sleeping on the floor like everybody does when
Wow.
when you break in the wrestling business. You don't like to the point where later I was shocked that it was still happening, because fast forward to like 2005, I worked a show with Manny Fernandez, who was surprisingly still in the business at the time, and he had a bunch of his trainees, and it looked like, and unfortunately, like the hotel room they gave me to stay in, they had stayed in the night before, and it was Manny in the bed and like 9 guys like sleeping around, and that room looked like a bomb went off in it. This is
Oh boy.
down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, so I did not stay there that night. I just drove home.
Wow.
So did you ever get stuck putting the ring together?
Put the ring to. Oh yeah. That's one of those things that I feel like one of the reasons I later left the business, just because it's like a rite of passage getting into the business. If you're not at the building 6 hours early, painfully, and setting up everything, and on the indies, like nobody else is going to set that up, set concessions up, set everything like that up. But that kind of stuff did pay off for me, because I got the whole reason I ever got any work from Burt Prentice in Nashville in the first place is because he had one of those projection screens like the WWF had, except it wasn't all pretty and edged by steel and everything like that, like the Titantron. Yeah. But he had one of those too for NWA Worldwide, and the very fact that I knew how to like connect cords together and stuff like that got me work from him. He was like, I got to keep you around. You know how to hook all this stuff up? And I was like, do you know how to hook up a VCR? It's like the same thing. Like, it's not that hard. A plug RCA plugs into something and plugs something in the wall and stuff. And it's like, wow, it works. It's connected. Like,
oh
surprising.
Man.
Just realized our names aren't showing up on screen. I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was going to point that out.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
So what is the weirdest thing that has happened at a show? Or weirdest experience at the show that, like, production wise, or.
Oh, I was going to say I went with Jeff Jarrett to Mexico one time. You want to hear about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man,
sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I hear about. No, that was unfortunate. That was during his run as the NWA World Champion when TNA was running, and he was, of course, famous. I mean, like everybody knows, he's done a lot of work for AAA over the years, and it was my first trip down to Mexico City, and yeah, Jeff's a good heel. I'll say that, because they were in one of the arenas they're in Mexico. It's like when you're going down the aisle, it's just chicken wire blocking the fans off from the crowd, and there's guardrails, but then it's like chicken wire going up higher. And Jeff comes out at the beginning of the show with because he's wrestling Latin Lover that night. I just remember, and it was for the NWA Championship, and the funny thing was, like, he's got Vampiro back there before the show, like feeding him lines and like trying to teach Jeff Jarrett, this hick from Henderson, Tennessee, how to speak Spanish, which he couldn't do. And So he went out there as you expect and butchered it all. But eventually, I mean, like there was enough heat there to where people. And the weird thing is, when he got done with the promo, like it, they weren't really throwing stuff yet. But when he came out for the match, and it was the whole Jeff Jarrett entrance with the guitar, throwing it up and everything like that. And as soon as that guitar went up, broken glass started flying.
Oh wow!
And I was like,
Oh.
and I looked and I was like, we're gonna die tonight because I'm in his I'm with him. And I don't know if you watched early TNA, but he had the red shirt security that was Kevin Northcutt, and this was before Joe Legend was in it. It was the big tall guy that had no talent, Ryan something, I don't remember, but he was like 7 feet tall, and Northcutt's like 6'6" and jacked. You know, if you're from Louisiana, you might know who Kevin Northcutt is. He was well known on the indies around there in Texas and everything.
Wow.
So Kevin, so they were on the card. Of course, Conan was working both, and he was there. I'm trying to remember who else came from the States down there, but yeah, they hated all that stuff. And the I can't remember who, but of course Jeff did one of his famous like Memphis type finishes where you thought that Latin Lover won the belt, but he didn't, and
that's the dusty finish.
The dusty finish.
Yeah.
It's something like that, or one of something from, I can't remember if it just came off to me as something from the Lawler playbook though, and it was like the foot's on the rope or whatever, and Northcutt put his foot on the rope after because the red shirts are running around there running interference for him, and the Latin Lovers on the top rope celebrating with the belt, the arena's going nuts, and then they're arguing with the ref and they get the match restarted and Jeff El Kabongs him and pins him real quick. It's just the same old washed up Jeff Jarrett finish, but it somehow works everywhere. So, it worked down there, and I had seen him do the same finish like 3 weeks later in Mississippi. 3 weeks before in Mississippi. So I was like,
did he smack somebody with the guitar over the head?
Yeah. That's the El Kabong I was talking about at the end.
Oh yeah.
He must have a big supply of guitars he takes with him.
No, they had him down there for him.
Oh, he just goes to the store and buys them, huh?
Another question is, how was that car ride?
Oh, through Mexico? Like,
yeah.
When we flew in.
I mean, with Jeff.
We flew from somewhere. I want to say we flew from somewhere else in Mexico to Mexico City, but we drove into Mexico. But Jeff's fun. Jeff is a really good guy. Like amazingly, like, you know, he's the nicest guy in the world and makes one of the best heels that that ever did.
He's a very good heel, yeah.
Spent his whole early career being a babyface until Vince hired him. But he's really, you know, he comes off very easily as a natural heel, but like talking to him, he's one of the easiest people to talk to, and he's one of these guys that you know, if you're in the locker room with him, he'll talk. He's a talkative person. But like if you let him think you don't want to hear it, he'll just shut up and he won't say a thing. And it's like when you get a guy like that in the locker room, you know, it's time to shut up and listen and learn something, you know, because he's got something to offer. He's drawing money, you know.
Yeah, he was raised in the business.
And he brings the fans in. He's the perfect heel, you know.
Yeah, he's you know, I heard Mike Graham say he never drew a dime, but I can personally attest that we had a show in Greenville, Mississippi, which on population is only about 45,000 people, and we drew almost 5,000 people in that town because of Jeff. Wow. So I can say he's actually drawing money. Like he's the only, you know, big name on the show. And this is, you know, 2004. Hasn't been on real national television, you know, in years by this point. But of Course, it is the Mid-South, so you'd expect people to know who Jeff is.
Mm-hmm. You would think so, yeah. Did he ever call you slap nuts? Well, that's a fair question.
No, I never heard him say it, to be honest. I don't remember, but you know what though? Funny enough, he still has that purple Intercontinental belt though.
Wow.
The one that's turned like a murky maroonish black, like he still has that thing.
Wow.
And I saw it and I was like, what are you like? How do you even have that? But that's the belt he dropped to China that night and he just took it with him because they had already had
the Oval Intercontinental.
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah.
Oh, the oval. Okay.
That's one of my favorites. I love that belt.
He has that. He has a couple belts. He has a couple of the Memphis belts too that were real just hot garbage from back in the day. Like trophy belts that are actually like bolted on the strap and stuff.
Oh boy.
I think Richard has one of those, don't you?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get it.
You
The license plate belt.
Got one like that.
It's like the Inmate. Any bootleg is better than the original.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, some of these belts, I mean, like the CWA belt that you have is 1,500 times better than the one they actually.
You're talking about something like that.
That looks like the. Good God,
That's actually nice.
that was a very popular design on the Indies for a long time. Like,
All they could afford.
yeah. It's a whole different game now. When even Game Changer Wrestling is buying it from a bootleg maker to make, the actual belts they're using. But why wouldn't you? Why would you spend $3,500 on a belt?
Yeah, that's just crazy. That's crazy.
No, and you're going to change it in a couple of years anyway. Like, what the?
And it's going to be beaten to death. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Might
What
as well
about
just
that
go
one
like
belt they
300.
have in the Indies? It's like huge. I mean, really huge. What is it?
Bigger than North American, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
huge.
We had
Bigger than the champion.
with the original TV show we had, the South's Greatest Wrestling Fans, we had this TV title made, and it was as big as the Big Gold is, but it was very like, I wish I could show you a picture of it. It's like a triangle. It's almost like a hexagon, but it's just a trophy belt. It's like a slab of steel with a layer of like that trophy gold on top, and then more trophy plates on it that just said the name of the championship. And the belt, the strap was terrible. Like, and this is what you could get for like $500 at the time, other than, when Figs Inc. came out with those, and then everybody in the Indies was using the WCW TV belt for their tag belts, and it was like, my God, like I've seen some stuff now. I've seen people cut the sides off like the 3-plate WCW US Figs Inc. and they covered something. I don't remember. Like, I've seen some creative stuff done with those Figs belts on the Indies. Like, it was impressive. Stickers on them, everything to try to make. So I saw a promotion that yes. Well, I mean, what do you mean ring crew? Like, it's just like four guys unloading a trailer and setting up a
The wrestlers typically chip in too, don't they? That's how they get their start.
Yeah. When you're, I mean, one of the guys we had like for the NWA Mississippi promotion kept the ring in his like some kind of shed, some big storage shed he had. So he had the trailer and stuff like that, and he'd bring it in, and then unless you were like somebody, you were setting up the ring. Like I remember having shows with like Terry Gordy, and Terry is asleep over on the stage while everybody's putting up the ring, and it's loud and he's sleeping. And I'm like, well, I guess that kind of tells the story of why he's not here anymore. But
that could be, yeah.
Well, I even know some veteran referees that still set up the ring, help setting up. What's his name? I can't think of his name. The one that mini flare.
Charles Robinson.
Charles Robinson still helps set up the ring and everything in WWE.
I've definitely. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just I heard what's her in WWE, the woman that's always the 24/7 champion, the blonde.
Yep.
I've heard
Dana Brooke.
Yeah, she's got out there and helped them put the rings together. And you never
a lot of them still do it. Bruno does it too. Every show he's a part of, he tries to get his hands on it.
It's hard work. Those rings are heavy.
Yeah, it's not an easy job. No.
WWE rings are huge and heavy. Like,
I'll bet they are.
People don't think that extra like 2 feet by 2 feet is a lot, but it is. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I helped set up a ring that came from the WCW Powerhouse, and it's every bit of its weight.
Yeah. And that was some of the best rings, those WCW rings, because Bill Behrens and all of them got some of those rings too after WCW went out. So like they're those were good rings. You those were better to bump in than WWE.
What's up, Chris Thor?
I know a guy that bought one of those rings, and I helped him set it up.
Nice. Those had the best cables on them and everything. Those were the least painful, like to run and hit compared to. That's another thing. when I was working in Memphis, and they were definitely at when they whenever Lawler. So after USWA went around, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Randy Hales and Corey Macklin started that Power Pro Wrestling, and that got the TV5 deal. But then Lawler, there was a ECW knockoff company in Memphis called KAW, Kick Ass Wrestling, that was
Good
run
name.
by Terry Golden and a couple of the other guys. But they had a lot of the stars on there, like PG-13 was on like every show, Brickhouse Brown, a lot of the like Memphis stars were on those shows, but it was all like ECW type thing, except it was weird. They had like strippers at the show, like walking around in the ring throwing cigars. I'm not even kidding. Like Platinum Plus strippers throwing cigars out in the crowd. And they had it like a DJ just like playing like mixed music during the matches.
Oh wow.
It was nuts. But Lawler bought this company because they had a contract with the New Daisy Theater on Beale Street, and Lawler wanted that spot to tape at, and that was WWF developmental for a long time.
Wow.
It was Memphis Championship Wrestling until they eventually, like, Lawler re-intertwined with Power Pro, and they came back together and got the studio wrestling back and everything. But for a while, they were using older WWF rings and taking them on the road and setting them up in Arkansas and then in Mississippi and all around the area. But it was a weird thing because some of those shows were like co-promoted. Technically, they were like promoted by Memphis Wrestling, but they were considered like C-grade WWF house shows down there.
Wow.
And I mean, they'd have people like, you know, Brian Christopher, local people there that they knew that were also in the WWE at the time. They'd have Too Cool down there. You know, they'd throw some stars, but you weren't getting The Rock or anything like that. You know?
Right.
As far as rings go, the original TNA ring or regular size ring or regular ring, which one do you prefer?
The TNA rings, I think the original TNA ring was also a WCW ring, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
It looked just like it anyway, like just with different aprons on it. And I think they retaped over the cables or whatever and made them different color.
What about when they went to the octagon or whatever it was?
Oh, the six sides.
Yeah, the six-sided.
That's me setting up that one ring.
Oh, wow.
I hope that beam is away from the top rope.
It is. It is. That's a parking garage, actually.
Oh wow!
I've definitely been at some shows in places like that, so I'm not even going to say anything. I remember one time there were like pipes up in the ceiling at one show, and one of the guys like jumped up and ended up grabbing on them and hanging them and doing like a shooting star off of it or something.
Oh man!
Did you guys see a while back they had one where they had the drop ceiling and the guy jumped from the top rope and actually went through the drop ceiling and came down with it?
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you see the? Are y'all familiar with Luke Hawks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
NWA.
Yeah. He's that's a good buddy of mine, old Ultra Boy Luke from XPW back in the day. But his son ended up going viral not too long ago, doing some kind of dive during from in a mall, like off the second floor into the ring or whatever.
Oh wow!
I
I've seen that.
If you saw that, like the ring's in a mall, like downstairs, and he comes off the balcony upstairs and jumps off into it. But both Luke and his son Perry are both they're both Hollywood stuntmen now.
Oh wow!
So they're used to doing stupid stuff and nice. Yeah, but TNA. Speaking of that, I was definitely at like that Huntsville show where they did the first one live and the second one, and it just like a lot of all the stuff except for the cages they put the girls in were like pretty much WCW stuff. I want to say like anything they had, like the lights and everything. I think they got from WCW. I think some of it, honestly, like they didn't care about and people just took. Like I'm not even sure that because Vince didn't buy any of that stuff, so it was just he didn't want any of that.
Wow.
Yeah, they so I want to say most of the stuff in TNA originally was. I never took a bump on the six-sided ring, so I wouldn't know how. But I've heard people talk about it was, you know, so tight and stiff and even in the middle and stuff that, you know, I know I heard Sting talk about hating it, and of course, you know, if I was almost 50 years old at the time, I'd probably hate taking bumps in there too.
Oh yeah. I took a bump at 50 and it didn't feel too good.
No.
You sent me a picture, and I'm gonna put this up if it's okay with you. I'll put this up on screen.
Yeah, I think that's that was the last company I worked for there before I got out of the business.
New South Wrestling.
That
Look at
place,
that. Hey, the hair.
Oh, look at that.
yeah.
Nice. So you worked with TNA, WCW, and WWE.
Yep.
Which one was the best to work for? Or which did you have the best experience with? I'll put it that way.
Which one did you
There you
enjoy?
go.
Which one did you enjoy?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely WCW. Because I guess it was a different mentality too. I was just a kid, like trying. I was like, they were like, yeah, we pay like $200 a night for people to go out there and do that stupid security. So I was just thrilled to be like going out there and like included. And they didn't know I wasn't even a wrestler. Like they didn't care. They were like, they just wanted people that could bump. And I think I did. I think I took like one bump in like the 4 times I did that stupid stuff. But I really thought, like, my hope was that I was going to get a job with them eventually. Like they were telling me things like when I first got in the business, I was pretty overweight. I had a ponytail, and they were like, hey, like, we like you. You got a little talent. Just, keep working on your skills and stuff like that. But at the same time, you need to change this up. They told me to cut my hair, which happened pretty quickly afterwards. And then that was the most ridiculous thing there. That was like the blonde streaks at the front. I literally just took a bleach kit and like striped the front of my hair and stuff like that, because that's one of those things they always tell you is like, do something to stand out so people remember you. So I had like a weird little L beard, and then with no mustache, and then frosted the front of my hair and stuff like that. Yeah.
Are you cutting a promo on this shot?
Yeah, that's be like, if you look up Scott Storm, and if you've heard of the current New South Wrestling in Kentucky, that he bought the company, so he's reopened it in Kentucky as New South Wrestling. But he was a wrestler himself named Scott Storm.
Scott Storm.
Jim Miller. Jim Miller.
Look him up right now.
Wait, I'm trying to think of who that is, because there was a Jim Miller I knew that was with the NWA. Maybe that was the same guy. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember that guy. But my hope was that I was going to get a job with WCW, especially like because I was willing to work a lot cheaper than some of the guys they had. So I thought that I was eventually going to get a job with them. And then 01 turns around and they're out, and I was like, well, what am I going to do now? And then fast forward, I did like a lot of live event work for WWE, and then eventually like I had kind of given up on the idea of going there too. So I got an actual agent and became like a Screen Actors Guild, like commercial actor and stuff. And I also like emceed like runway shows for modeling. And that's
what's up, Buck? How you doing, man?
Hey, Bud.
That's Scott Storm right there.
No,
That's not Scott Storm. Okay, that's it. Came up
that guy
Google
probably
Images.
is Scott Storm. There's probably a million people that had that name, but
Yeah.
if you're
The Dollar
familiar,
General
familiar
version.
I'll show you if I can find him. He's out of Kentucky, and now he doesn't wrestle anymore. He's Anthony. This would be him if you look down on your Google selections.
Okay, I did see that picture. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, if you Google Scott Storm, you should see him down there.
I did. I just
Yeah.
Hey, all I'm saying is Triple H, I'm willing to work security, even if it's $200 a night.
So they so I never got a job offer from WWE.
I'll be back.
Until I got an actual like entertainment agent and started doing TV commercials and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, like yes, that is Scott Storm. And if he sees this, I hope he likes it. So he was one of our regular guys down there. He was from Kentucky and was going to college down at Mississippi Valley State University on a golf scholarship, getting his master's degree. And so he worked for us for a long time. Bought
What's up,
Bought
Curtis?
New South Wrestling after Bob Serio down there closed it down and moved up to Kentucky, and it went out of business for a long time, but now he brought it back last year, and he's using like the Tate twins, the Gun Club. He's got a bunch of guys he's working with, and it sounds like they're doing good. He's got some building up there near Lexington, Kentucky that he's going to be running in the future for like TV tapings. So apparently he's okay. Like I don't really talk to him much, but apparently he's trying to run like pay-per-views, but I don't know how that's going. You know, like
Hey, it's a start if he does it.
yeah. He's got a lot of he's got some guys working with him. I think Rikishi's sending some of his students over there, and he's gotten in with some of those people that can kind of feed him some good talent. And but yeah, NWA New South was an associate member territory of the NWA through NWA Mississippi, which became NWA Battle Zone and moved down to like the Jackson, Mississippi area. So New South stayed in the Mississippi Delta area where Bob Serio was, and Bob was this guy that was related to the Patera family.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's related to Ken Patera, Playboy Pat Patera, that was a cousin of Ken's that also wrestled, and so he was in with them, and so he was in the business in some form. I don't know what he did in the 80s, and then he got out of it for a while. He was also an amateur boxer, and then he decided he wanted to be in the wrestling business, and that's the company that drew like almost 5,000 people in Greenville, Mississippi. It was a big indie for a while down there. It was we had a lot of stars we worked with down there. We had Sid Vicious one time to wrestling with like
I think he knows Chris.
Yeah.
yes.
He's a guest tonight, so he's got the floor.
No, it's but yeah, so that was that I kind of stuck. That place that where they ran most of the time was 45 minutes from my house. So I stayed with them until I left the business in 2008.
I gotta ask you this question. Any I wouldn't say experiences, but I would say women wrestlers. Did you run into any really cool women wrestlers?
Yep. I knew most of the ones that were in developmental for WWE back in the day, but we had a few of them that were on the road with a lot of us all the time. There was one that wrestled down there in Louisiana a lot in the Mississippi Gulf Coast named Passion, and she was signed to she was in OVW for a while, signed to WWE, and I don't think she ever got called up. I don't know what happened, but I think they found out she was like 35 and fired her. Like, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
That was probably like psoriasis. She never got signed.
Yeah. All I know is she went up there, had a contract and everything. And then like it was like maybe 2 years later, and she was back down south working the indies again. And I was like, what the hell happened?
Wow.
But yeah, we had her. One of my favorites is Malaya Osaka. If you remember her she was in WCW and bunch of other companies. She lived in North Carolina and I think she was Hawaiian, but I think WCW at one time was telling people she was Japanese or something. I don't remember.
Wow.
But I don't know if you're familiar with her, Malaya Osaka, but she was, I think she still wrestles from time to time, but she's got to be mid 50s, late 50s on up there now. She's been around. I think she cut in when like Medusa and then we're cutting in the business and everything, but she's
wow,
she was awesome. Like people were I'll get to that. She's Malaya was a good person, and one time I remember picking her up from the airport to take her to a show, and people were like, oh, I heard there was like this famous wrestler, and here's this 120-pound woman, and they're like, I heard there was a famous wrestler on the flight. Did you see her? And she's like, oh, it's me. She's like, I guess it's me. And they were looking at this skinny Asian girl like, okay. like really, you're the wrestler? And she's like, yeah.
Guilty.
But women's wrestling was rough back then because I guess that was around 2000 when I worked with her on that show, and it was in Greenville, Mississippi. But she had a lot of times you couldn't get there weren't a lot of women in the business, so it was like the opponent we had booked for her backed out, and one time I ran a show where one of the females backed out for the match, so then it was like, oh crap, so she wrestled like a male manager, and then I think Malaya ended up wrestling a guy that night, and he insisted on putting her over, and she was like, he's a 250-pound guy, and she was like, really, you're gonna put me over? And he's like, yeah, and she went over. Like
Wow.
Wow.
I guess you know he was one of like the stars on the show. I guess he wanted to do the right thing, and you know, like it. I don't know that we weren't supposed to be allowed to do that too, because like gender matches were definitely not approved by the athletic commissions. So like
They apparently did to see Jim Cornette get in the ring against women.
Oh jeez.
yeah,
Oh jeez.
yeah. The best wrestling match I've ever seen live.
Good question.
I don't know. Like I'm trying to think. I would say seeing Goldberg back at WCW wasn't a good match, but it was really insane, like how over that guy was at the time. Like when you're at the I remember being in a Thunder or something when he was wrestling at that, like literally, it's like you could feel like that crowd, like he was so popular, like that was insane. But I don't know. I always I was on the I will say this: I was on the road a lot with AJ Styles when he first broke into business, and that guy, like, you know, I guess he's lucky he made it in the business because like the stuff he was doing, like doing stuff like the spiral tap and stuff like that was just stuff he was doing like every night back then. like it was he the type of athlete he was and is just insanity. Like I heard Man Up talking about, man, I think AJ was better in Japan than he was in WWE. And I'm like, did you watch his entire TNA career? Did you miss that?
Yeah, I mean, just like Jeff Hardy at their age right now, you can't see them doing moves they did when they first started. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But AJ was something else in TNA. Like that. I mean, like he always amazed me. Like he had good matches. I remember him and Luke Hawx working a match back in 2000 or 01 or something like that. And it was freaking insane. Like to how athletic both of those guys were. Keep in mind, Luke Hawx was skinny back then. He wasn't jacked like he is now. And so he was doing a lot of like high flying, really insane stuff back then. So those guys, like AJ and Luke Hawx on some shows was really crazy. I've seen Luke do I want to say one time I did not even see him come to the ring, but like it was like a run in a match. And he was like running down the aisle, and the next thing I know, he springboarded in the ring, like cleared all the way across the ring and dropped like a perfect leg drop. And I was just like, what just happened? And I'm like calling the match, and I'm just like, my jaw's on the floor. I'm like, the hell did that happen? Like he's a freaky good athlete. Luke is just like AJ. The amazement of I remember he said something about ribs, and got to work quite a bit with Sean Waltman too.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like it's literally like I remember we had this one show in Jackson, Mississippi, I think, at this nightclub, and this was a regular spot for us. It drew like 800 people. Like it was a good show. I can't remember if it was like called Banana Joe's or something like that, but it was a pretty big nightclub, and they ran there, and he was there, and Disco Inferno was there.
Oh geez.
And I love Disco. Disco is a hell of a guy. Like him and Bagwell both, when they show up to shows, they show up early, and they'll call the building and be like, hey, or they'll call the promoter and be like, is there like a TV where we're dressing? Because those guys will set up, especially if it's like a Saturday, and just watch college football the whole like right up into the show. And
That's funny.
One time they called the building, like I was at the building early for the show, and it's like Disco on the phone with somebody at the club. He's like, is there a big screen TV where we're dressing at tonight? And he's like, I don't even know who the hell you are. Like, what the hell this is about? And he's like, I'm a wrestler. We're doing wrestling there tonight. You don't know where we're dressing? And he's like, no. He's like, I don't give a shit either. Click. Like,
Oh man.
but I will say, Sean Waltman liked to mess with Disco pretty good, and he just stupid stuff like move his stuff and mess with his head and stuff like that. Just
That's one thing you don't do with the guys. They don't like you touching their bags, from what I heard.
No.
yeah. He did it in a good. I mean, he
Lighthearted.
didn't really go through his stuff. He just moved stuff, and if Disco left something out, he'd move it, and it drove Disco nuts.
Make him think he misplaced it or something.
Yeah, and then every time Bagwell saw it, even though most of the time Bagwell and Disco rode together because they both lived like in the same area in Georgia, in the Atlanta area or whatever, like they rode together most of the time. Buff would always just go with whatever they were doing to Disco.
He ribs pulled on you, or have you ever even pulled a rib yourself?
Have you broken any ribs?
I don't think so. I don't think I ever had. I don't think with some of those guys. I don't think I really ever had it. I remember somebody. I don't remember who it was. I just remember somebody took Brickhouse Brown's keys to his car one time and took it to go out to eat without asking him.
Oh no!
And he goes outside and his car wasn't there, and I was scared for whoever the hell it was that he was going to find later doing it. I don't even remember who the hell it was, but I know it wasn't good, and it wasn't. And the bad thing was, it was some local guy. Like he just found Brickhouse Brown's keys, took him, and took the man's car, and went out to eat with a couple of guys to a restaurant. And just told the guys, "No, it's good, man." He said I could take his car, and it's like,
oh man.
Was
there a fight when he brought it back?
No, Brick was freaking pissed. Like
I can imagine he was. Yeah.
And that's another guy I love in the wrestling business was Brickhouse Brown. That was a great guy. He got me a lot of work, and he was very well connected in the wrestling business with especially people in the WWE. Brickhouse had good relationships with people despite his interesting stories that which I do believe about Pat Patterson, like wanting to
Chris,
like have some fun with Brickhouse, but
sure.
I do actually believe that because I never found Brickhouse to be a liar, and I got to enjoy watching Brickhouse beat the ever living dog shit out of Brian Christopher one night, and I enjoyed.
Oh my gosh!
I bet that was enjoyable.
Brian,
what was his nickname back then? What was it? I forgot what his nickname was.
Grandmaster Sexay.
Yeah.
Yep. He was recently I saw Sabu did a shoot interview and came out and was like, yep. They asked him, it was like word association, and they mentioned Brian Christopher. He's like, yep, he's a dick. And I was like, yep, that's about sums it up. Like I could tell you firsthand that Jerry Lawler would beg people to book Brian after his first release from the WWE in 01 or whenever it was, and he was a special kind of guy, and I always got along pretty decent with Doug Gilbert, but if you got those two together and they had their choice of stimulant to get messed up on, you couldn't stop the two of them. They were on a tirade. But Brian, I could not stand Brian Christopher. That guy would come into any locker room and just completely just rip into people and had no respect for anything. The guy thought, I saw him come into indie shows and ask for private dressing rooms and stuff, and I was just like,
yeah, he was Jerry Lawler's son.
National Guard Armory. Where the hell do you think you're going to dress other than where we're dressing?
Right?
Jerry Lawler's son, and he wanted to make sure everybody knew that he was Jerry Lawler's son.
He was wrestling royalty. He wanted you to know about it.
He definitely did, and
we'll give you the Royal John to get dressed in.
Yeah, and he told we didn't even believe him when he got rehired in 04 that he was going back up, but he was like, I got to tell you guys that I can't take any more bookings because I'm going back up to WWE. And we're like, sure, Brian, sure, Brian. And then he did go back up, and I was like, what? And then he got fired 2 weeks later or whatever. And then he was back.
Oh, geez.
Dad begging to get him booked again.
Did you get to be around Lawler any?
Yes.
What was he like? Was he kind of the same way, or
no? Jerry was as nice as he could be. Matter of fact, that was a guy that I was lucky as a commentator to get pointers from. And I got to do two of my favorite people to do. Obviously, if you can do commentary with Jerry Lawler, that's amazing. I did commentary with him and with Percy Pringle, Paul Bear.
Oh,
And,
man.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was.
Now, I understand he was a real nice guy, too.
Oh yeah, that's a ripper. That's a guy that'll mess with you. And if you don't know him, if you don't know Percy will just tell you stuff just to see if you'll believe it. And like he was a funny guy, but like Vince paid for his gastric bypass surgery, and his idea was he was going to bring Percy back up to WWE. But after the surgery, 6 months after the surgery, he's at like an indie show with us eating like this huge bowl of popcorn. And I'm thinking to myself, it's none of my business to butt in on his medical things, but it's a medical situation. But I'm like, you just had this surgery to like get your stomach reduced and everything. And like,
You got to be what you eat after that surgery, too.
Yeah, he's eating full on buttered popcorn that was given to us by some casino we were working in the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Like, we're in this casino and it was like full catering in the back, but he had this gigantic bowl of like dripping movie butter popcorn. And he's like sitting behind me and the guy I was doing commentary with just eating this popcorn. And then he was the type of guy, even like while the show was on and we were taping, he'd get in my ear and be like, "Do you want some popcorn?" Like,
just like him.
Just to see if he could get me to laugh or whatever. Like, that was,
That imitation was too good.
Yeah,
It was.
Right on.
He would do that kind of stuff all the time, and then like he would just do the most weirdest stuff. Like, he'd be cutting a promo because he was like the commissioner of the promotion, and we had a Road Dogg there one night, and he's like he like said over the live microphone, because I was the ring announcer there too. He's like, "Make sure you remember his name is Road Dogg." Something like that. He's like looking at me and talking to me in front of a live crowd. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, it just didn't make any sense. Like, he did stuff like that, or he'd sit over me during commentary. And then the guy, I remember specifically, there was this guy, and I don't know, Lane, you're from Louisiana. I don't know if have you ever heard of a guy called the Sex Bomb Terry Bryant? Okay.
No.
He was, yes, I have worked with Jim Cornette, and I do like
My sympathies.
But Terry Bryant was, he was very injury prone. He was a good wrestler. He was very injury prone. And then he ended up doing commentary with me at this company. And somebody early on, I think it was Dusty Wolf, told Terry, I think Dusty Wolf trained Terry Bryant, and he told him, because Terry was very creative and liked to come up with a lot of one-liners and quotes to say, like in promos. And he was like, just start writing all that stuff down. So Terry would come to the show with like a notebook full of like quotes and one-liners he wrote down. And when we did commentary together, he would just be like thumbing through it while I'm talking, like trying to find what he was going to say next, and like waiting for me to like invite him to say something stupid. And there's a match actually from this company, and if you look it up, it's a guy named Malik Avalon wrestling Disco Inferno, and he's doing commentary with me there, and it's like he was kind of difficult to work with because he really wasn't. I had to tell him, like, he wanted to be the play-by-play guy, and I'm like, no, that's me. Like, you do the color, you just do the fun stuff. And he's like, oh, really? And then he just starts thumbing through his book for like one-liners to say every time I gave him a chance to talk, and it didn't come out very well.
Some of these names that they come out with when they first begin, yeah, it's like, wow.
Terry was a bouncer at a gay bar. Like, he was very gay. And he, not there was anything wrong with that, but Terry was, but his character was like Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother. Like, he came out with like a little glass with tea in it, but he's trying to make you think he's drinking like like brandy or something. He's like got tea in this little glass with ice, and he comes out to the Sex Bomb song. Was it Tom Jones? Was that the Sex Bomb? And yeah, that's what he's supposed to be, like a womanizer like that. Like, but gay as he could be, just like Neil Patrick Harris, Wow. But he was Kevin Northcutt's traveling partner for a long time, so he had done his fair share working all these places too. But he was he like one time he used to be like 280 pounds, this big buff blonde headed guy, and like he disappeared from the wrestling business. He just like Chris Masters did at one time and came back like 50 pounds lighter like a year later. And it's like, what'd you do? Did like stop working out? No, stop eating the anabolic chicken.
There you go. So you've been out of action since 2007. Have you ever entertained the idea of getting back into it?
I did for 2 nights. I did. So I worked. WWE came to Norfolk, or came to Hampton, Virginia, and Norfolk, Virginia, and that's when Road Dogg was back there working with the live events and stuff like that. And I ended up filling in as the live event host for those 2 shows. And that was back I think in 2015 when Kevin Owens and John Cena was like the main event going around. That was the big main event was for the show, and I did those 2 nights. I just remember like the New Day and Sheamus were on the show, people like that, and that was
cool.
that was fun to be back there because Road Dogg, a lot of those guys at WWE will typically, like if they want to send you a message to, they will have a jobber take your name and go out there and see if you're paying attention. And that's my last claim to fame is Johnny Gargano doing a job match against Tyrus or whatever he was called in WWE. And his ring name, if you look it up, is Joey Gray.
Oh,
yeah. I still have Brian's phone number. He hasn't changed it in like 15 years or something. And I shot him a text and I was like, somebody showed me it. I wasn't watching whatever. I guess it was main event, I guess. This is back in 2012, 2013 when like I said, when Road Dogg was there and he was a producer, I guess, at the time, but he was 2015 he got me a couple paydays working for a couple WWE live events this is when Greg Hamilton was still like going between NXT and working the main roster for that. So somehow I don't remember why, but he wasn't going to be there. So I got the book on that. Road Dogg called me up and said, he was like, "Do you still work in the business?" And I'm like, "No." he's like, "Well, do you currently watch the product?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Wrong answer." And I was like, "Yes, I do, Brian. And I'll go watch some right now so I know what's going on." And that's how. And then that was it. Showed up after work when I was working at the Naval Hospital in Portsmouth, Virginia, and showed up at like 4:30 p.m. that Friday in Hampton in a suit and and got to get a little touch back at the business for a couple nights, and then that was it. Never again.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Gianni asked a question. Are you a memorabilia collector from your years in the business? Do you have anything from your time in the business?
No. And I'll be honest too, just because like you see a lot of guys in the business that have pictures with like stars, and I was just the way I was brought in, you just didn't do that kind of stuff, or you came off like a mark in the locker room. So like like people did that, and it usually like it's a big no-no. You shouldn't really do that in a pro wrestling locker room, because then it makes whoever it is uncomfortable that there's people in the locker room that shouldn't be there.
True.
And
Right.
It happened one time when we were at this baseball stadium with Buff Bagwell, and some random guy that he didn't know that apparently ended up being a guy that ended up reffing that night, like came in and was like, "Hey Marcus, can I get your autograph?" And Buff's like, "Huh?" He's like, "Wait, I'm going to be doing autographs out at the table in a little bit. Like I'm going out there to do autographs. Just why?" He goes, "Why is there somebody in the locker room?" Because he's sitting there just putting his boots on or something. And he's like, "I'm going to go out there and take pictures in a minute and do all that stuff." And he's like, no, he's one of the boys. And it's like, and Buff's like, okay. Like it's just kind of weird, so
I just got turned down by Buff.
Yeah. So like some of the NWA footage from back then, I don't really talk to the guy I work for back then anymore, just because me and him had a bad split in like 2004 when I stopped working for him. He's the one that started that Facebook page for the original South's Greatest Wrestling Fans, and he was posting some stuff, and then like last year he just stopped. And apparently, like whenever he got divorced from his wife that used to be on the road with us, she kept all the tapes for years.
Wow.
and didn't give them to him. And it's a bunch of like super VHS tapes, nothing of independent wrestling. I don't know why you'd want to keep it, but like she kept this box for years, and then he finally got it back. And he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be uploading this stuff on the Facebook." He's like, "We ought to do something together, and we ought to like do some live commentary sometime together because we haven't done it in years." And I was like, "Okay, man, let me know what you're thinking later, and let me know." And then he posted, there's footage on there from that time, and some matches I did commentary on there. But no, I don't know. He just stopped posting it again, and I'm like, okay.
So I noticed you're also a fellow belt collector.
Yes.
I was going to get into that. Go ahead.
Collection. I see it in the background there.
I don't have that many belts. I got 10 belts right now. I got a
Lightweight.
that's
mine, it's just a green screen behind me.
Oh yeah, just like the Jim Crockett kind of collection there, like some of them.
There you go.
Oh, that's
Nice.
Crockett's belt.
And then the NWA belt's the one from the Jagu group that I got custom done that now apparently I've inspired other people to get. So it's the Leather Rebels NWA belt that they came out with several years ago.
Oh, okay.
They sold for how many $1,000 and then ran themselves out of business.
I was going to mention that you're one of the admins in Jagu John's belt group.
Yeah. So I started the group because so I found out about him. I had no idea even up until like 2019 that there was a whole like belt collector community and all this stuff. I had no idea it existed. And then a guy named Gary Nations, who was one of the Lord Humongous, like one of the guys who was Lord Humongous, bought like a Georgia national title from Jagu. And he's showing pictures like on Facebook of it. And I was like, the hell did you get a Georgia national heavyweight title belt? He's like, I got it from this Pakistani belt maker. And I'm like, huh? And then funny enough, like, I ended up like getting along with Jagu like pretty good, like just from talking to him and stuff, and bought a couple belts from him. And then I started that group because I liked, like you're talking about, Richard, about how he's a good businessman, and that
definitely.
He doesn't have to be the best belt maker. That's okay, but if he does,
they're honest,
business,
they can just be honest with you. That's
Hey, everything I've seen from him, I like his work, to be honest with you.
He's a pretty straightforward guy. What you ask for is usually what you get. I think where, like with any belt maker, where the fail is a lot of times is when you don't check when he sends you stuff to check. Like when you don't look at the details and go, you did the side plates backwards, or you did, I didn't want you to put a half tip on it or whatever. And I'm glad he kind of stopped doing that. But that's what a lot of them do when their first couple of years go, and they think, creating those custom half tips is the way to go. And then people don't want them. So he finally got the message, and I told him that too. I was like, don't put them on unless somebody asks you to. Just leave the end of it blank. If somebody asks for a tip, then talk to them about that. But if they don't want a tip, just don't put anything on there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, that first experience with him when he messaged me and he said that, I'm like, no, I'm glad you're honest, and I thank you for that.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Yeah, a little communication goes a long way.
Yeah.
Well, it does. Sure does.
Have you ever talked to Ali Nasir?
I haven't.
That guy will video call you, and show you his entire shop. Wow. When I was ordering a belt from him, he's like, let me video call you, man. Let me call you. And turns out he's a collector himself, and like he's got like a whole display in his living room of belts he made for himself and stuff. And he's like, yeah, my dad's like a leather exporter from Pakistan. And I'm like, I've never like got a personal video call from a belt maker before. It was the weirdest thing, but he means well. He's a really nice guy. And like, he showed me a shop. He's like, look, we're painting plates here. We're doing this. Like, nobody's ever let me see this.
Yeah. That's a personal touch. That's like a behind the curtain type deal.
Yeah. I'd never seen what it looks like, but it's, it's just like you'd expect. It's guys sitting on the floor painting plates with, they got the paint all open in the brushes and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's impressive, because you got to have a really good, like, steady hand to paint in those like intricate details there.
I'm working on it myself, and it's tough.
Yeah. And these guys are just like hanging out around this like where the paint is and stuff like that, painting plates. And he's showed me the roller where he curves his plates and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like, I've never had a
You
belt
see
maker
how a
do
belt
this
is
before.
made from the very beginning of etching to the end. It's great.
Yeah.
That's why I like the updates. When they
Yeah,
send you the
I love
updates.
Yeah. So funny enough, I stopped being friends with Gary over he screwed Jagu. Like I think Jagu was being really trusting. This is back in 2019, and Gary ordered a Dome Globe from him, and I think he paid like $100 down on it. And he gets the belt in, and he's like, "See ya." It was like,
Wow.
And then I was like, Jagu, you can't just do that, man. People will screw. But I was like, you can't just do that, man. Get your money before you ship it.
Yeah, exactly. They make that mistake a lot. They fall for some of the lines.
Yeah.
Unique, the guy that advertised to me, he's done that. He took a chance on me. I took a chance on him. It worked out really well. So,
Is that Unique Spirit?
yes, Unique Spirit.
I've heard good things about him.
He does great work. He's very he'll communicate with you. He goes above and beyond, and he's getting better. His original designs lacked a little bit, but I made some suggestions. Other customers made suggestions. He's made some changes, and he's really come a long way.
That's good. Tony Thorpe was talking really good about him.
Yeah, I've got several plates by him. He made this custom behind me. This one right here.
Nice.
He made that one for me. But you have a couple of Coab bins, a Cedric Lineham and a Man Up, and y'all have. Is this a regular thing? Y'all go live? I just noticed you've been live a few times. I've been watching.
Yeah, it started out because me and Man Up were just bored, and we're like, hey, you want to go live together and just talk about some stuff or whatever? And then Cedric ended up. We found him through, of course, Championship Belt Brothers, and then he joined the group because he also got one of those Stampede North American belts.
Oh, yeah.
So he joined, and then he had an idea, ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, we're trying to go on like Thursday mornings, but the hard part is like you guys have a good time set up, and we got to get there.
Russ Miller.
We got to get there. We got to get a time we can all agree on. That's the hard part for us.
Yeah.
Us three right now is.
We had some pretty interesting conversations. I mean, today it was what was it today? Oh, gimmicks that didn't work, right?
Yeah, character flops. Yeah, that was
character flops. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then I think you had like a Mount Rushmore of something last week. I watched a little bit of that, so it's very entertaining. And tell us the YouTube channel for that that group.
It's Man Cave Sports TV.
Man Cave Sports TV. Okay. Look that up on YouTube. But you'll enjoy it. You really will. I'm supposed to be working during the day, but I see you guys go live, and I sit there and watch it while I'm trying to work.
Yeah, because I mean, like, we're just trying at this point to just get something recorded or something to where he can upload it to YouTube, even if it's not live on YouTube or whatever, and then try to see if it sticks. But he is a very committed WWE fan that we're trying to expose to other wrestling.
Keep working on him. You'll convert him.
It's, even he didn't even want to watch that first FTR versus Briscoes match, and I was like, you've got to see
Oh man,
I
got Richard converted over to old school style belts and things. So
yes,
oh yeah,
took some work. We got him there.
Yeah, we made him watch like some of the dialogue between Tully Blanchard and Dusty Rhodes and the Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA stuff, and I was like, because he's talking about great heels, and I was like, you don't know a great heel until you've watched some Tully Blanchard.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
He is on another level.
I got one for you. Favorite promo.
Favorite promo?
If you could have a wrestler's favorite promo, who would it be?
It's hard to pick out one. I'm a huge Ravishing Rick Rude fan. So
that's a good.
Yeah, like
that'd be good.
One of my favorite moments,
baby, hot times.
That was a great promo, but
one of my favorites.
Rick is the definition of a heat magnet that just like, I remember him going out for one of the matches with Ricky Steamboat when they were doing that U.S. title feud, and just the heat walking in that ring. Of course, you're gonna have heat when you're wrestling Ricky Steamboat anyway, but but just him not even being able to get his words out because the crowd was so loud booing him, and knowing that he's got that look on his face, but that he's soaking it up on the inside. But Rude had a great ability. I enjoyed a lot of his promos, but I definitely enjoyed some of those more cerebral promos like Jake the Snake did, and Arn Anderson. Some of those
Arn
kind
was
of
awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
Arn didn't ever have to get loud. He just, but you knew he was serious.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Favorite match of all times.
I'd have to go with the Chi-Town Rumble. Ric Flair and the Dragon. I think that was, I think Ric Flair himself said Steamboat's his greatest opponent, and I have to agree. Like that was magic in that match, and as a kid, that was one of the greatest things I ever saw was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat winning the world championship.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
good.
I feel like Savage and Steamboat get all the credit, but I feel like that one was just a little bit better.
I got one for you. Now, you were saying that Brian Christopher was the ultimate jerk. Was he the biggest jerk in wrestling you were around?
Him and yeah. I would say
himself and him.
to the point where I got really pissed at him and like yelled at him one time because we had this kid that was doing like the music, and he came back there, to collect everybody's CDs, and Brian was like, he's like, I don't carry my CD around. He goes, it's the WWF CD with the pie on it. He's like, it's the one off of there, and it's just like, no, not everybody even knows who you are, bro. Just chill out. And he's just like, it's the Too Cool theme. You guys know it. And it's like, God damn it. So I like blew up at him and was like, dude, man, this kid doesn't even probably know who you are. He doesn't care. Like, leave him alone. Like he doesn't care.
You're not that famous, dude.
And then he got pissed about that and called some other, guy that was like in the opening match that was like training. He called him like an anorexic Cheerio.
Oh,
And then I was like, and I just looked at that guy's like older brother who was also a wrestler and was like, I'm gonna kill him. Like one day I'm going to kill Brian Christopher. And I hate to say that, knowing that, later he got it, he either killed himself or somebody got him.
Okay.
Wow.
What about the opposite then? Who was your favorite person all those years to work with?
Road Dogg.
Okay.
just him and all his whole family.
His whole family was great.
Yeah, they're all great guys. Like, including like anytime I got to be anywhere close to Bullet Bob, like I just felt like I was in the presence of somebody. Like, like
he was a legend.
And it's really true. All of his Jim Cornette said it. All of his sons got a piece of him, but he's the total package. Like he's the guy that had the same speaking ability that Brian had, but he had the wrestling ability Brad had, and he had, he had a lot of that stuff.
What's up, Jim?
Hey, Jim.
What's going on, fellas? I just got back from repping the last of our summer, and just got in here just a few minutes ago and realized that it wasn't so late and I could join the podcast. So.
Yeah, we were just getting into hour number 2. I don't think of it. I don't know if any other questions. You guys have any other questions?
I see Jim's a referee.
Yes.
God bless you, man. I feel like,
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
How do you? I got a question for you. So like I always had, as an announcer, I guess I fall in some ways. You fall in the same category a referee does in a sense because, it bothers me to see people like Aubrey Edwards refereeing and putting the spotlight on herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
I totally agree.
It's kind of like as an announcer too. I always knew my job was to get the boys over. It was to put over what they're doing and stuff like that. So I'm like, why are you trying to get over out there? Nobody like.
With and I'm going to play devil's advocate for Aubrey for a second. Okay. As a referee, I try to sell, especially if the move is if it's a nice crisp chop and it's loud, I'll react to it.
Yeah.
I try to sell what the guys are doing or the ladies are doing in the ring.
Yeah.
The thing with Aubrey, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, is number one, they really latched onto her because she was the first. I don't want to say the first female, but she was the first one on TV who got national recognition as a referee.
Yeah.
And she is being told and directed to do what she's doing in the ring. There's an earpiece in their ear. I don't work.
absolutely.
Sorry guys, my girl here is kind of nudging me a little bit. So if you see me, my hands start doing this, it's not because of me, it's because the dog's wanting me to pay attention to it. But she's being directed to do the certain things, especially they put the spotlight on her now specifically. The directors are doing that. That's not really on her. At the same time, yes, she is overboard with her mannerisms. She is it's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But when the director is in your ear saying, okay, be more active, be more active. You know what I mean? This means nothing, but you see a lot of this.
Yeah, they want to
going
be
on.
more animated.
Yeah, but the director, it has a lot to do with that.
But who is directing that? Because that's like nothing.
Probably Tony.
Tony Khan.
Probably Khan sitting at Gorilla with
Kramer
the headset
Jr.
on.
Because back, I don't know. I mean, back when I was working at the business, you do some stuff like that, you get tagged for real.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get,
if depending on who you're in there with, and they see you doing that too much, like over the top stuff like that, and then all that stuff where she's like bumping the guys and stuff. Like if you come at the wrong person, I mean, like it's just very strange. It's like I get it. It was funny,
Well, it was cool because it was a girl. It was cool, and once again, even though it's 2022 and we should be kind of past all that, the fact that she's out front for the company, she's kind of. I mean, is she not their senior referee? I'm not.
That's
really
what I was
sure.
just gonna say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I don't watch AEW.
Yeah, she does book the referees because I know another female referee she was booking for some of the
Yeah. So they put her in that position, and they're directing her to be as animated as she is, because of her reactions, because of the big eyes and
that's fine. I get that, but it's like the whole
Oh no, I get it.
It's almost
much.
comical
It's too much.
sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, me and my buddies, they'll whenever I do watch AEW, and I'll get in a little chat group with whoever, and I'll put my 2 cents in. Usually it's about the referees being lackadaisical, or two guys will be outside the ring for 2.5 minutes and they barely made it to 5 on the count, and I'm just like, come on, guys.
AEW, every time I turn on AEW, they're like posted up to catch somebody for the longest time.
Yes, like Pac. Pac looks good. The dude is. I mean, he cuts a good promo. Everything's good about him. But then when he goes to the top rope to do one of his big flying flippy dude moves, it takes him 1.5 minutes to get squared up, and then he doesn't even look to see if his opponent's still there because he knows the guy's going to catch it. There's a certain part of it that I really, this is why I kind of, if you haven't met me, but these guys know when I talk about AEW, I beat it up a lot. Not because I don't want it to succeed, but I point out the flaws in it. And who am I? I'm nobody. They're a $1 billion company, and I'm a nobody from West by God, Virginia. But
I made a point when I was watching and talking to Cedric and Man Up when I was watching Clash at the Castle, and I made a note to them because they weren't even thinking about it when Pete Dunne did it like a moonsault out to the floor. Those guys got where they were supposed to be, but they got there like quick and made it happen. And it happened so quick, and it's like that right there is how you do it. Like why can't how are these guys professional in wrestling on national TV, and so are these guys, but these guys get it. Like these guys.
Well, that's because one is a company that is geared towards being now they. The word sports entertainment, they kind of gotten rid of that. They actually say the word wrestling now and wrestler. But one, that goes to show you how professional they are versus how, I don't want to say unprofessional, but how
unpolished.
Yeah.
Unpolished. Yeah, very indie. The other is, and when you have like, and here's the thing, there's somebody that agents every match in WWE, right? And they'll say, no, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that
Yeah.
because this will take too much time, or this will take this you don't need to do that because it's unnecessary, or it's too much, or it's too, you got to do more or less, whatever. There's somebody that's always going to tell you. And in AEW, you've got a fan who's the owner, a Mark owner, who had a simulation thing that he did as a kid that makes him think that he's going to be a good booker, right?
Did you hear him talk about that? He told Conan that he was booking as a 12-year-old, and he called the show. He was booking Dynamite, and like that's how he decided he should book a wrestling show.
Yeah,
like and Conan's looking at it like, okay.
Like, but that shows you the difference between the two. Is one, and one is a Mark billionaire who's bought a lot of toys, and the other one is the professional wrestling company. And I'm not saying because of I'm happy AEW exists. I wish it would like get its acting gear as far as especially the officiating and some of the booking. But I want them to succeed. I want ROH to come back because there's more places for people like me to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's more places for me and the boys to go work. And I don't want to see any of them fail, even though I'm very critical of AEW. I'm so critical of it because I want it to succeed.
Yeah.
And like one of my biggest things is the lapsed fan, right? The fan that quit watching after 2000. My dad would watch wrestling with me and my brother and all my friends because they would come over on weekends on Saturday nights. I'm a little bit older, 6:05, and then later on the Monday night, my friends would come over and we'd order pizzas and have beer, and just have a little bit of a wrestling party show. And my dad quit watching it because of all the stupid, fake looking stuff where guys will take a minute and a half to stand there while somebody gets in position on the top rope.
Like this, with their arms around each other, doing like the wave and stuff like that, waiting. And it's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But like that instance, like at Clash at the Castle, like the guys they might have been scrapping down there, and they just, you can see the guy going up top out of your peripheral vision, or but you can feel the guy getting up there. It's not rocket science. You don't have to turn around and like stand there like in awe. Just feel it out, and when when he's ready to go, you're gonna know if somebody's paying attention, because they're gonna do something to turn you around.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Look at it like this: how many botches do you see in a WWE match live? Not very many.
Yeah,
not very many at all. You turn on Wednesday nights, you see a lot of botches because these guys are trying to do stuff that they can almost do. WWE has a rule. They would much rather you do something that is a category strength of 4, but do it at a 10 level, as opposed to trying to do a 10 level move but only pulling it off at a 4. You know what I mean? And
to me, AEW just does too many things outright. Like the night after Sheamus and Gunther wrestled, why would you have Eddie Kingston and Ishii try to do the exact same thing? Like you're not going to beat that. They didn't. So it's like, I'm sorry, these are it's not the same as what happened the night before. You can't do that better than them. And I have a great appreciation for Ishii, but it's just like Eddie Kingston's not the right opponent to do that with.
I love Eddie. Okay, Eddie reminds me of Dusty Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
Not the best looking body, you know what I mean? He's kind of out of shape, but he looks like the dude that lives down the street from him.
He's the ordinary guy,
but he can talk them into the building just like Dusty does, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to in ring, Dusty was way better. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and even compare the two like that. Dusty was way better, but Eddie Kingston and Ishii. My problem with that matchup is who the hell is Ishii? If you're not a Super Mark fan of New Japan or any of the Japanese products over there, you don't know who it is. And if you don't
Speaking
know
of
who
that,
it is,
why do you book your world champion in a match with a guy nobody in America knows either? They just did that. And
because
then
you
somebody was
only
like, well,
looking
that's
for
not
a
a
select
title match.
audience.
I was like, that's even worse. Why would you even have your world champion wrestle?
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, that and you got to think, this is once again, and I'm not criticizing Tony Khan or anything, but he's a mark booking matches, and because he's a mark, he's a super mark, he's a smart mark. He's into the Japan stuff. Most of Americans,
Yeah.
like most regular guys like me, I don't have access to New Japan. I'm not going to spend $20 a month to watch New Japan on Wi-Fi or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I don't have the disposable income for it in the first place. This is just the regular average Joe, right? Most people watch what's on Monday nights, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that's because it's on cable TV. And if it's not known on TV, like this is no lie, my Garcia from AEW, when him and Bryan Danielson had their match, right?
Great match.
Oh, that was an incredible match. But here I am sitting watching it. I'm like, who the hell is Garcia?
Why do I care
if you're
about
not,
this match? Yeah, like what?
if you're not a super ROH fan, that's where he came from. Was ROH, I think, wasn't it? I'm not
I
sure.
watched
I don't
ROH
know.
all the time. I don't really remember him. He might have been an undercard guy there, but like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who this cat is.
Yeah, he got
Right, and I
hurt
understand.
really bad, and he had to leave the scene for a little bit.
But you got these matchups that only super smart marks know, and that's only marketing to a small crowd. Never mind what we call the lapsed fan, and the lapsed fan who's in their late 30s to 50 years old. They're the guys that actually have money to spend, right? I don't know why that they don't try to target that audience, because they're the fans that will actually pay for the pay-per-view if they have something to watch, because they do still love pro wrestling.
Yeah.
That's why they tune in when they have the legends come back on TV. You know what I mean? It's sad when the shows, not even wrestling. We're talking about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and AEW can't draw the ratings than the A&E biography. The biographies are drawing millions more people to watch. Why is that? Because it's covering people that they actually loved and cared about. And that goes back to, these last fans and treating the business, instead of treating it like a work or a soap opera, let's dial it back a little bit even further and actually treat it like it was a real sport, right? And then you'll draw more fans. UFC kind of killed everything for pro wrestling too. So
I gotta change gears here for a little bit, guys, because I promised a couple of guys I'd bring them on.
and I'm gonna dip out and thank you guys for having me on. I got to go to
Thanks
bed.
for coming on. Come back again
all right,
sometime.
it was nice meeting you, man.
Thanks for
I
coming on,
apologize
Joey.
for not. I apologize for not being here earlier, man. But it was good talking to you. It was good.
Yeah.
Great interview. Appreciate you coming on. Let's do it again.
Yep.
Yeah, man,
Appreciate
definitely.
you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks,
All right.
Joey.
Joey, thank you very
Thanks
much.
for coming on.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, so I made a promise to bring him on. He was going to come on last week, but something came up. He couldn't do it.
Who could this be?
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
Saddam Hussein?
Yeah, Saddam Hussein. No, it's
Wow.
Goodness.
yeah. So I'm gonna give a proper introduction. He's giving me the finger backstage.
Who the fuck is that guy?
So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Gianna Martello. There's the reason why I brought him on.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
And we got to keep this moving along because I got somebody else behind you, Gianni.
Yeah, okay.
I'm underdressed. Hold on.
There we go. Yes. Hold on. Hello, Richard. How are you?
What's up, bud?
I hope you're being
What's up,
safe.
Gianni?
Everyone is being safe. Andy, you can't pull that off. But anyways, let's get to the meat and potatoes of the whole thing.
Yes, please do.
Because I hold all the cards, right, brother?
Okay, Josh.
Hold all the cards, brother.
I hold all the cards. I recently did a transaction with Mr. Baggard.
Nice.
And let me tell you something, okay?
That's a big freaking main plate.
Let me tell you
that's what
something.
she said.
Okay?
That's what she said.
Tell us,
Nothing against Ryan Stokes. Nothing against Romero Anderson. Nothing against all the other leathermen out there. But this right here, this leather is incendiary. This leather is the tops.
Incendiary?
This leather is the best.
Oh, yeah.
You're just
That's
saying that
nice.
because it's true.
It's damn true.
Damn true.
So
I appreciate that, though. Very kind words.
no problem. You could PayPal me later.
Right.
So Mark showed this on the show before. Okay.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, is that the old UFC belt?
Yes, but here's the thing.
I must have showed a picture because I've never seen that belt.
Yes, it's autographed by the Beast.
Dan Severn.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice, Gianni.
And the word.
I'm gonna see if I can squeeze. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can squeeze Rusty in here before.
Yeah, get Rusty in here.
Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it won't freeze everything up.
Rusty
Hello, Rusty.
Miller.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Rusty,
Russ?
I got my ticket to the gathering, brother. I cannot wait.
All right.
I'm gonna let him show these other belts off real quick. Then
Oh
we'll,
my god! Oh my god!
I won't be looking at that stuff for 10 months yet.
This is 14 pounds. I need to go back to the gym. But look at this
40
thing.
pounds of gold.
Oh, that looks familiar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you again, Rusty. Yeah.
You're welcome.
NWA tag.
Look at the
Nice.
thickness. Look at the thickness, man. Like
That's
it's
8mm right there.
Boy, it is.
8.5.
It's thick.
8.5. And
That's what she said.
and this is the original color of the strap.
Yeah.
Burgundy.
The
Not
cut's
brown.
not right, though.
Not I'm
But
more of the
it's beautiful. I mean,
It is.
I'm telling you, he does a great job.
for the price that I have, I bought it for, which I'm not stating. I stole it. I freaking
Yeah, that's
stole
cool, man. That's cool. Good
But-
deals.
it. Ugh. And also,
He
I have
stole
one-
it, but don't arrest him yet.
I have this belt.
Man, your arm's going to be killing you by the end of the night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you,
that's
man.
sweet. That's
Oh,
sweet.
It's upside
Classic.
down.
It's
The
upside
classic.
down, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ben Walker.
that's the Bruno.
Look at this.
Ben's the best.
Now, how long did you hound him before he finally gave in and sold it to you?
About
Couple months.
Yeah, about 2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Nice.
it also and I like this because it's TV accurate. It's 1mm. It's what they had back then.
Nor.
What's up, Nor?
Nor.
Very accurate.
Yes. Hello. Thank you, Nor. And I was gonna wear this on the show, but I don't want to scare the children.
You're
anymore.
Yeah, Nor's kids are watching. So.
Yeah, speaking of children, yeah.
I don't want to scare the children any more than I already have.
And you were supposed to wear this the whole time you were on.
You're supposed to have that on when you do this, pal. Come on, Johnny.
He's a Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, no, that's better right there.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Much
pretty
better.
dope, actually. I like that.
Is that a custom or is that the WWE version?
That's an actual custom. Thank you
Nice.
again, Button Walker.
Don't adjust your sets. That's not a filter.
Put
Via
glasses back on.
yeah. Also, I forget his name, but he's a member of the community. Okay. I forget his name. He made those. Ben, help me out. Tell me his name in the comments, please.
I'm not sure if Ben's still watching.
But
Was watching
yeah.
earlier.
So great interview. The next
you.
You're welcome. The next WCC belt that I'm going to get is kind of ironic because it's so big. It's the light heavyweight. I never understood why it was so big and it was lighter size guys
The world class light heavyweight belt's not that big.
compared to
No.
the other ones.
Well, to
Was
some of
it
the
so
other ones, yeah,
big
but
that
it
the
was
Robert
style
Lee
of the
said,
way
"Who the
it
hell are you?"
It was the way it was. The style of it made it look taller than it really is.
Okay. I
Was
guess.
it bigger than this?
Jesus.
Sorry. Wait, hold on. Was that Jim Lawrence?
No, that's right there in the middle.
Let's see what Jim's holding there. Hold on a second.
Yeah, what's Jim holding there?
Let me put...
This is the one I got.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, the premiere.
Yeah,
I told you were gonna love that one.
yeah, man, it's really nice.
Not bad for not a main logo belt.
Now I got a belt to show off.
Please do.
Oh,
I
let's
gotta put
see
you-
it. Let's
Belt of the
see
week. This is why I'm wearing this shirt. They were talking about Japanese wrestling earlier, so let me get belt cam up.
Oh, we're introducing belt cam.
Yeah, belt cam is on tonight.
You guys haven't seen this before.
Belt cam.
Belt
Belt
cam.
cam live. Belt cam live.
Got this beauty in today, just in time for the show.
Who made that?
And my Amadasser.
Very
I want to show you
nice.
this belt. I want to show you this belt tip. This is amazing.
Need that old school
Just the
disco
tip,
music
just
in
the
the
tip.
background.
Just a tip.
Johnny knows
Check
all
out
about
that
the
tip.
tip.
That's
Yes,
what
I
she
do,
said.
Andy.
But I'm bumped.
I'm still waiting for my hoodie. Just a tip.
That's a pretty hefty tip.
Yeah, it is.
That's what she said.
Look at the thickness of it
It's
Oh
just
my
compared to
double-
the strap.
It's a double stack tip. It's nice.
You guys
And
are
the,
still make up turning everything dirty.
Yeah, the side plates are CNC. The main
Johnny-
plate is acid edge,
Some people.
stacked, 4mm stacked.
Hey, we're doing better this week than last week, so we're good.
I was so tired last week I couldn't sit awake to watch.
You missed out.
I,
Yeah,
I,
that is
should-
a nice. That's a
I had
nice
an
belt.
exam Monday. I worked Thursday. I studied all day Friday. Saturday I had my clinical from 6:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. Went to bed by 4:15, slept till 9:05, ate dinner, slept till 7:30 Saturday or Sunday morning.
Wow.
And then I studied all day Sunday, and Monday I got up at 4 a.m. and studied and took my exam on Monday.
This thing's
Mark,
heavy.
is that
Yeah.
stacked?
It is, yeah.
It's
It's,
triple stacked.
Yeah,
How does
20
that compare to the inmate?
That's
I
I
heavy.
don't know. I'll have to weigh the
heavier.
inmate. This one weighs 11 pounds.
Oh no,
Mine-
mine's 22 pounds.
Yeah, mine's 22 or 24
That's
pounds.
22
Yeah.
pounds.
Well, I weighed it today. It's 11 pounds.
Mark,
Wow.
are you gonna re-leather that or keep it on? that
No,
leather?
I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
I'm scared to try to relive this one. God,
That's one of my next belts.
You got to remember the inmate, the original inmate, it was very thin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's like 1
It was like-
millimeter.
It's
it was like
layered.
sheet.
so-
It was like
They-
sheet metal.
Yeah,
It was
and
super
I mean,
hard,
I
yeah.
held it in 2005 in Tampa, and Nick was very guarded with it. Even then, I got my hand on it for just a minute. I just wanted to see what it was like, and I wanted to feel the history,
Yeah.
of everybody that had that belt.
Well, it felt like a license plate, right?
Yeah, it was made.
wait.
It was made in one of the Colorado State prison.
With Velcro on the strap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I got another belt to show off here, and Rusty will be very interested in this one.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That looks familiar.
We got a double belt cam live tonight.
yeah.
Nice.
And guys, look at the spelling. It is
It's
correct.
champion.
One champion.
One champion, yes.
I can't
Uno
I
champion.
cannot believe we missed that.
And the center plate is stacked.
No, it is not.
You're
That's
not that one.
not.
Single stack.
Yeah.
That's a nice belt. though.
I
made
think
it?
Russ ordered this before I had him start stacking that.
See, here's the
I had
thing.
forgotten, and I've got pictures of the original U.S. belt with me with it.
Anybody wonder how that would look in gold?
No.
No,
No,
stay
it's
silver.
the 10 pounds
Yeah,
of
it's called the
silver.
Dome
Yeah.
Globe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Russ, not belt related, but how did the family make out with the hurricane?
Well, my dad's in a nursing home in Fort Lauderdale, so he was fine.
Okay.
My brother's having a little bit of issue. He lives in Palm Bay, and
My mom lives in Palm Bay.
they got a lot of rain. In fact, he texted me the other night. He said, I pumped 3,500 gallons of water out of the ditch in front of my house to the ditch that works across the street because they're building next to him.
Wow.
So the ditch right in front doesn't work.
Hmm.
So he pumped
Well-
all that out, and they're doing fine as far as I know. I texted him earlier. And he
But
said they're
everybody's
doing fine.
okay.
Yeah,
my
they're
aunt,
all fine.
my aunt Judy's down in Florida, but she's on like the West Palm Beach side, and I talked to her today. I'm like, "Why are you down there?" I yelled at her. My mother was on the phone. I didn't yell. I said, "Why are you down there? Get your butt home now." But she's fine.
That's nice, Mark.
That is
Yeah,
nice.
my
That's
my
beautiful.
parents have they live in Palm Bay. Unfortunately, my stepdad's brother passed away this week, and they were in town. They came back like right before the hurricane hit, and they're trying to leave out Sunday, and I told them not to go back for a couple of days, give it a chance to get cleaned up before.
Yeah, that's
My
nice.
heart goes
Mark.
out to all the people down there.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, Mark. Gorgeous, Mark.
What's
Yeah,
that?
thank you, Jim.
Exciting
Gorgeous.
me.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
It was
And
definitely
Gianni,
scary.
Gianni, I believe the maker of your mask was Mike Matos.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Mike Matos. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
I'm
He does a great
he's
job.
cool.
Check him out, everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Mike is one of the guys from the promo realm, so
Yep.
he's really good. He
Good guy.
goes by
He's a
the
good guy.
nickname Mike Murder is his
Mikey
nickname.
Bada Bing. Isn't he Bada Bing too?
Bada Bing. Yep.
Yep.
Bing. Bing. Bing.
I do Taker with the cracked orbital bone, and he had to wear that. I don't know. I was.
Yeah.
I'll make you guys laugh.
Wrestling with a
My
cracked
very
orbital bone is hard enough, and wear that uncomfortable thing. It's a nice mask. I'll never wear it, but
My very first promo was done in a Kmart cane mask.
Mm.
I used it with a red light. I had a character called Malachi, and this was before Malachi Black.
Yeah, it was.
Malachi the
About
Mutilator.
17, 18, 2017, 2018. Also, I want to do this real quick before we go on. I still got these, and some guy was on in the group earlier asking for one of these, and I said I already have one made, but he's looking for a blue one. Well, I can fix you up.
There you go.
I can't remember the guy's name, but I have 3 more blanks, and I can do them, different colors, different, 2 different textures.
When he's not out riding his motorcycle.
Mark can definitely
Yeah.
hook it up. That's for sure.
Rusty got me.
Do you make chaps too?
Oh my God.
I have chaps.
Oh, yeah.
You know who else? You know who else is a great guy? Ben Walker.
He is.
Oh yeah.
No,
What up,
Ben's
Big
one of the
Ben?
best. Ben's one of the best.
Yes. Yes.
There's
Yeah,
a
so
lot
I
of,
got
Mike
the
is an
t-shirt
awesome
from.
guy, Ben.
there's
I
a
got
lot
this
of
from
good
his-
guys in this hobby that when you've been around and you do this for a long time, and like I've said on this before, a lot of these guys are fairly new. Last 2-3 years. There's very few of us that are around from the groups. Back in 1997. I had hair then.
So did I. So did I.
I mean, Andy and Abe Lincoln started a group, man. So I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Watch it, Johnny.
Hey, Gianni's gonna find out firsthand just how hard we party in Charlotte.
let's.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? You know what, Rusty? I'm good for it because I'm going there that weekend, and I'm taking the next week off, so I can recuperate at home.
It might
So-
help your eyebrows to grow back.
Yeah. I'm rooming alone. I'm gonna have a guarded door. Yeah.
Watch out, Gianni.
We're
All I know
approaching your
is
10 minutes, Gianni.
We got to bring
They know
that
me
video.
I'd like to see this.
Just remember,
I
bring
had him rolling 2 weeks ago.
bring Sharpies, not washable.
That's right. I tell you,
Rusty,
Parker.
the deal
Rusty,
is
you're talking about. But
when
you're
you
talking about
get
missing
into
the
your
show
room-
last week. You should have seen this. You should have seen the show from 2 weeks ago.
Oh god.
Oh, jeez.
It's really
Yeah.
tough, like when especially during exam time. Like the 2 weeks ago, I had my pharmacology exam, so I had to study for that too. And in 4 weeks, I have two other tests. So, it's tonight was like a special treat for me. And I told Mark the other night, I'm like, "Ooh, I don't have anything tomorrow morning. I can get on if you had time for me." And it's fun to be on.
Ben
Yeah,
said
we
he-
put Ben in the hospital. He was laughing so hard.
God.
He went in the hospital the next day.
Was he laughing about his Bears, how they did against the Packers?
Oh, jeez.
Uh-oh.
No,
Here we go. Here we go.
just watch the show. You'll understand.
I'm worried about my Steelers, man. Jeez.
I never heard of them.
I don't worry about your Steelers.
I don't either.
I worry about my Cowboys.
Who?
I never heard of them either.
They won.
How's Dak's hand doing?
I'm not worried about that. He's got a better replacement right now playing for
I
him.
was telling the guys, I put a Dallas Cowboys sticker on a vacuum and gave it to my brother. I said, "Look, this vacuum sucks too."
I already know the Steelers ain't going nowhere because Tomlin already said he's not changing his quarterback. So
That's fine.
that's the season.
Who is our quarterback now?
Steelers Trubisky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Andy knows a whole lot about Trubisky. Yeah.
Wasn't he the Bears quarterback?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He was the one that the coach was he called him the Nagy was called the quarterback whisperer, and then they didn't do anything.
I mean, come on now. we can't have Joe Burrow on every team. I mean, come on.
Watch it.
Oh man, that's awesome,
No,
man.
no, honestly, Andy, that was a compliment. That was a
And you
compliment.
can't
Oh,
have
I
Aaron
forgot.
Rodgers.
I
Jesus,
forgot, and I
dude.
didn't bring this up last week, but my Cowboys beat the Bengals.
Watch it.
That's
The
okay.
win-
They're
The
winning
Bengals?
right now. They're winning right now, and then the Miami quarterback just went off the field on a stretcher.
They took Tagliavoa off.
Oh,
He went off on a stretcher.
Quick
What,
story.
was it neck or leg or what?
I couldn't tell. I got the volume down.
His back.
Quick,
It was
quick,
back.
quick story. When the
He's
Steelers
been banged up though.
Yeah.
when the Steelers beat the Bengals,
Watch it.
I didn't. Andy didn't talk to me for 3 days.
Hey guys, I just got one thing to say to you guys.
Well, that was my excuse I used, but
Oh,
You were the best part of today.
Suck up.
But, here's the thing: these football players, they can all be tough, they can all be big, they all can't be. You know what they can't be?
Superman.
A professional wrestler.
James Harrison can. James Harrison can. Spoiler.
Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
Very few.
yeah.
Hey, remember when
Uh,
Refrigerator Perry
Vader.
came in?
I weighed it, Ben. It is 11 pounds, but feels heavier than that.
That's what she said. Oh my God, there I go.
But
It's Reggie.
Another football player, Vader.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
uh,
Very-
I somebody
very
can't be a
few.
football player or a professional wrestler is LeBron James.
There you go.
Darren
He saw a
Drozdov.
football player get hurt and hop up and walk off on his own power. He's like, I didn't know you could do that.
Darren,
like-
Darren
Goldberg-
Drozdov, the only
Goldberg,
one to
too.
throw a
Yeah,
football.
Goldberg.
Yep.
You know who would have been a great
Goldberg.
wrestler was Kevin Green.
He
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
wrestle in WCW for
Well,
a
yeah,
while.
a few
Yeah,
matches.
but he only
He
was
might have-
only like
Right.
one or two matches. But yeah, he would definitely be believe.
He also wrestled in TNA as well. Kevin Green
I
did,
liked
did a couple
Mongo's
spots in TNA.
promo because I thought the way he talked was cool, but he was terrible in the ring.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Oh, he was a tap
Loved him-
dancer,
loved his
man.
promo because he was a badass. He was a legit badass.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
wasn't good in the ring at all.
There's
No,
another
he
Wahoo
wasn't.
Yeah,
McDaniel.
yeah, I was gonna say
Wahoo
Long
McDaniel,
Look, look.
famous guy.
Yeah. Wahoo.
We have a saying whenever we get a trainee and they do the tap dance that Mongo did. We call it "You've got Mongo feet," and we have to settle them down where they. tap
2
dance.
minutes late.
I got a dumb question, Russ. What was his nationality? What is his nationality?
Who?
Wahoo McDaniel?
Mongo.
Mongo.
That I don't even know.
He always
Uh,
came off to me as American Indian for some reason.
Yeah, I
The
don't
long
know.
hair, the long hair, baby. Is that what?
Just the way his hair was and the way he put it back.
He's in a bad way right now, though. With the
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
he's gonna be
Lou Gehrig
much longer.
disease is terrible.
No,
It's
he
terrible.
doesn't look good, and it's.
I mean, I
it's
hate to
a
say
tragedy.
this, but he looks worse than Luger.
Hey,
Yeah.
guys,
Well,
not
he's-
to
what
change the
he's
subject
got
to
is worse
football,
than
but the
what Luger
Bengals
had.
jerseys,
Yeah.
the Bengals jerseys are pretty dope. I like the white,
You like
the
that?
white stripes. Yeah,
White
that's
helmet?
pretty awesome. That's
I
pretty awesome.
do like the new helmets, but I can't.
The whole
get past
uniform's
my-
white. I like the whole freaking thing. That's awesome.
They got the field painted white too.
Real?
Yeah.
I can't go past my black and gold though. So I mean,
I want to squeeze something in real quick before I forget. Last week on the show, I made a terrible joke. It was funny to me, but it's a terrible joke about Soraya. They call her Soraya now. And I said she had a sister with a skin disease. But they call her Soraya Sis. And I put this up on the screen. Well,
Sorry.
as bad as joke as that was, Britt Baker used the same joke on
Yeah,
exactly.
AEW last night.
He stole
Yep.
from Mark last night.
A week later. A week later.
she put
Now-
on Facebook. It's pronounced like in how you pronounce the name. She did that. It was
Yeah.
Just like
awesome.
Mark, just
Yeah.
like Mark did.
Yeah. So if she got this joke from me, hello, Britt.
So
Hope your
when
nose heals.
Adam Cole
Mark
coming
wants
back?
to know if you're
DMD.
DMD.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Mr. Mark Maggard, MLM. So anyway,
PayPal.
I thought it
Mark
was kind of
Maggard.
cool.
PayPal Mark
whatever
Maggard
Brett
at Mark
wants.
Maggard Belts.
Oh.
Brett wants
Oh.
something.
And I must say,
He sent me that.
Mr. AKA Marvelous Mark Maggard.
There you go. Yeah. Cease and desist.
Yeah, a lot of people like to use that cease and desist, and they like to threaten and all that. Like here's the deal: 99% of the world don't care about these belts. Trust me.
Right.
I've done this for you. Even the wrestlers themselves. Jim, is that a beer?
That's a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, damn, you made me all flustered.
Well, he threatened me with a cease and desist. I was doing this.
Look,
But when he
wrestlers-
first came
the
to
wrestlers-
you,
don't
what
want to leave
did
a
you
belt
think
with
of
the
him?
The wrestlers will sell it.
wrestler. They'll sell it or they'll just beat it up. It'll come back.
Who is
looking
this
like
guy?
crap.
Yeah, here's an old school story for you. Years ago, Milligan made my NWA tag belts, the ones on blue.
Mhm.
Rick Michaels, who's a friend of mine, and him and David Young were the world tag team champions. They were going to send their belts back to Jamar to be worked on, and they asked me if I would let them use my belts. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, I could have Ring use NWA world tag belts. So I emailed Dave, and he's like, well, let me tell you what, I'm not telling you what to do.
Yep, no.
But I'm telling you, he goes, you'll get them back. They will not look anything like you gave it to them in. They will be destroyed. They'll be beat up just like the Jamar ones. And so I politely declined, and it made me think. And, if you watch them, I mean, we all pay attention to the belts, but I think as we get older, you realize how much these things cost. Then you watch what these guys are really doing to them. You're like, holy crap.
Oh, I don't like when they slap them together.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. And I saw Austin's big Eagle Championship. It was destroyed because he was just throw it in the ring, throw it around the ringside.
My buddy's got that belt.
Yeah.
I want to give an update real quick on Storage Gate.
Oh, wow.
We're 2 weeks in. I still have not got the copyright paperwork I've asked for.
Mark, where'd you get that picture at? It looks familiar.
This one?
Yeah.
Or this one?
Hey, listen, I was on TV for 15 seconds, so
Another thing I don't want to avoid for tonight is if our number one fan is watching, I do have something in the collection.
Awesome.
So if she's watching and he's watching, we got
He's
King and
watching
Edge right here. So I didn't want to leave you guys out. I hope you're watching.
They're patiently waiting. Patiently waiting.
There you go.
Yeah, this doesn't get tossed around. This is going to go where the world class was in my racks over here. I'll show you. It's going to go right here. That's going to go back down to the bottom. This is going to go up on top.
You sure that shelf's going to take that weight?
I hope so.
Yeah.
It could hold one of Gianna's girlfriends.
Oh. Come on now. Let's be fair. Like Gianni could have a girlfriend.
He's had a few. He's a ladies' man.
A couple of them had some nice Adam's apples from what I could tell.
Oh, man.
Ooh, come on.
Anyway.
I'm going to get a
Sorry,
phone call
Johnny.
tomorrow.
I'm going to get a phone call after the show.
Keep it in kayfabe, brother.
Hey.
Not one of these.
Hey, Warden, keep the bleep button ready. Beep, 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 beep.
Just for them, Nor.
Brought that up here tonight.
Oh,
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I need a big. There we go.
I think this is a Rizwan Marza belt. It's real nice. The plates are a little too wide, but man, the belt's nice.
Yeah, it's
What's
nice,
that belt?
man.
What's that, Rusty? What's that
Is it
belt
supposed
behind
to be
you?
that big?
Well, that's my wife's. I had that made for her. She's a runner.
Oh, the 5K one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember you talking about that.
Nice.
And then I
Yeah,
just
that's a
got
nice
I
belt,
did a
man.
deal. I don't know if you guys saw Stephen Fink was selling the big gold, the
I
ORM
didn't
big
see
gold. I got that. I got it yesterday. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's got a curve on it like the big gold initially had.
I like that. I like when they do it, especially the classic belts, like that one.
When they make
Hold this up
a lot of them when they make the belts are not curved.
Wow.
Enough.
It's all there. I'm straining to hold it up.
Sometimes the thickness, adding all the plates, it makes the belt look nicer, but when you want to be a collector, it becomes a hassle.
Yeah. The
Especially the way
nice.
when I read and I listen to some of these people go, I spent 7 hours on Saturday cleaning my stuff. Oh my God.
Good Buck Harjo impression, Rusty.
No, I actually like that belt altogether, man. That's going to be one of the next ones. That one in the ICW.
Please tell me
Bonus
there's a
tip.
belly button on the back, please.
A belly button?
Call it the belly button.
Gianni, what are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Are you
What do
talking
you
about?
mean? A toe hitch for the buffet?
No.
You must be talking about that center
Yes.
screw.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a belly button.
Yes.
That's a belly button.
Gianni.
Yeah.
It's a belty button.
A
What are you
belty
guys
button.
looking at?
It's nice. It came today. I was
Did you
worried. I
guys
was
see,
hoping it came in today.
Did you guys see Tony go live today and the belt I sold him?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I sold
yeah,
him
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Tony,
yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Thorpe. Yeah,
I like him. He's a good dude.
yeah.
Oh, good
he's
deal, Mark.
awesome, man.
Yeah, that's actually
What's up,
Tony
Mark?
Thorpe. That's who I got this from.
Mark
Glad
was
you're
in the
okay.
bullseye of the hurricane.
Yeah,
Let
he
me put-
still hasn't made it home yet, so he doesn't know what happened yet. Yeah, that's an awesome belt. That's my Legends Championship. I got it right here.
I don't like
So-
the wording on that.
Why not?
It needs the word
Doesn't
heavyweight.
say heavyweight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
it.
I
That's the
did.
only reason I don't have that belt.
This I got this from Tony. Actually, we worked out a pretty solid deal.
Is that
We
5?
dealed and
Glad you're home safe, Mark.
Jim, is that
Good
5
deal.
Oh,
millimeter?
cool, cool.
Hopefully you didn't
Mark.
have too much
I'm
damage.
sorry. What'd you
Is that
say?
5? Is that a 5 millimeter or 4 or 4?
I want to say it looks like a 4 millimeter, but I don't
I
have
found
a
today.
caliper to actually measure.
Nice,
My Dusty Rhodes nameplate. I found it. It's like,
nice.
Nice.
Yeah. look how thick that thing is.
That is,
Nice.
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can either have it as thick or as long, but you ain't getting both.
Hey,
This is true.
That
I lived
funny
through,
thing about that
the
belt-
hurricane was so bad, down in Florida, and I hope everybody's okay. I lived through Hurricane Andrew, and I was in Broward County when that wiped out Homestead. And I'm telling you, now this is just my thing, and I tell you this because I went through it. If you got the chance to get the hell out from one of these storms, get the hell out. Don't stay there.
Yeah.
Don't try to be
Yeah.
tough. Don't try to be
Yeah.
staying.
Get the
out.
hell out.
Nick
It's not
Carnivale.
your life.
Nick
Yeah.
Nick Carnivale is thankfully home today or on his way home. I talked to him yesterday. He actually left Florida 2 days ago. So
Yeah.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
I couldn't leave because my son doesn't like change. That's the only thing. So I try to keep him as comfortable as possible. I'm
Uh-huh.
usually over prepared in case of anything, and this time I didn't put my shutters up. I mean, I know I didn't have to, but I felt comfortable with them on.
You're
But
more-
man, those tornadoes started sprouting up all over the place.
Yep.
15 minutes away from me, there was a tornado.
You're
Cooper
more
City, they had
inland though,
one.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
it was
my home.
scary, man. My
2 minutes
anxiety
late.
was like through the roof.
Actually, more 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I just realized one of the stones fell out of my my belt tip. I had to find
Uh-oh.
another stone. Yeah,
Just the
no
tip.
biggie. Yeah, just the tip.
You got a stone in the tip? Is that a Prince Albert?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's something else I was gonna say. I forgot what it was now.
Paid offensive lineman.
Can't imagine why.
Oh, I think it was an NBC News story. It showed a picture of a woman standing on a concrete pier with her phone, live streaming the hurricane coming in. And the headline says something like people were live streaming to give people a window into their lives as the hurricane approaches. And I commented below the picture. I said, "You misspelled deaths."
Yeah.
Yeah, they were showing that. People were posting pictures like on the piers and
insane.
stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why get
Well,
killed
they said
just
that
for a
they-
picture?
What's
Because
that
you
bill?
want,
What
people
was it?
want their fame. It goes back to the whole. They want their 5 minutes of fame. They want their,
Yeah.
they want something to, become of it.
At one point,
With your
they
life.
said all the water got sucked out of what was it, the King Charles River
The
or
Tampa
whatever it
Bay,
was?
the Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And there was no water, and like
You
people
could
were
walk
standing
out
out there.
on it,
Like,
yep.
do they not understand that all that water is going to come back at a very, very fast
Yep.
speed?
Because of the way the
You know,
storm was blowing and the wind.
The wind blew it all the way back that way, knowing that it's going to come back around and blow it this way. You know what I mean? I've only been through one, and it was a Category 1. And
Yeah,
we
Delray
drove right
Beach
into
got
it.
hit real bad, Russ.
And that was
Yeah, that's
scary.
up there. That's
So
up
I
north
can
a little bit
imagine
there,
a
yeah.
Category
Yeah.
3 or 4. That's like Godzilla coming.
But you know what is
crazy.
people treat these things just like they treat politics, all this other crap that's going on the last 2 years. Oh, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. It ain't nothing. And then you're dead. And then you're like, oh, well, I didn't know. Well, you know what? Now I don't feel bad for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're about to the end of our show.
All
I
right,
want to
Gianna,
thank
get off.
again Joy Gray for joining us earlier. I want to thank Rusty and Gianni. Sorry, look at your name. I was reading here. I was trying to think of names for joining us, and I want to thank everybody else for joining us tonight. We'll be back next week with another good show. Appreciate all of our viewers. If you are watching this on YouTube, or if you're if you're on Facebook, go to YouTube to the Wide World of Belts channel. Click that like button and subscribe button, and that little bell, so you're notified when this show goes online. Because since we've gone private, we can't copy and paste the link into the other Facebook groups. That's the one drawback to going private. But it has been quieter in the group, thank goodness. So
Yeah.
I want to thank
Mark.
everybody. I also want to thank our sponsors, Mark Leather and Unique Spirit. Please check him out. He does wonderful work, really good
Yes,
work,
he
and
does.
he's very good to work with.
Yes, he does, and so does Mark Leather.
And
Thank you.
also
Never heard
thank
of
you
Mark
to
Leather.
thank you to the Brothers of Kayfabe
Yes.
for allowing us to stream live.
Thank you, Facebook user.
Mark, I'd like to thank you for having me on. I know I overstayed my welcome on Globing the Span.
You
I'm
did,
sorry.
but you paid for it.
But I always love watching Globing the Span on Worldwide of Belts. So I mean,
There you go.
There you go,
All right.
I wish you much
me.
success
That
with
is
your
so
tag team
classic.
partner.
You got
I got to
me.
get that
Actually-
for my phone so I can put that on Gianna's number.
One last thing before I go. I'm going to go
I'll
to
send it to you.
a wrestling show in Guthrie, Oklahoma, a week from Saturday, and this beauty is going to be there.
Miranda Green.
Nice.
Yes,
Hello, hello.
I've repped a
Very
match
nice
or
lady.
two of hers.
she's very,
Like
very
they
nice.
would say in Looney Tunes, hello, nurse.
Let me tell you something. That nurse
Johnny,
would
when did you film that?
pull your arms off and beat you over the head.
How
with
do
them.
how do you think I got that belt, man?
I think I
not
would
good.
let her do that.
Yeah. Try to get my
Oh, I
video
got
up
some
here.
stuff to say, but we're still live, so I can't say it.
Okay, we're really off the air. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good night.
You guys have a good one.